Hello and welcome to another Scan and Cut Saturday. This week I'd like to show you how to make a pop-up card design using the Canvas Workspace, and towards the end of the video I'll also show you how I put the card together. So I'm starting a new project first of all, and then I'm going to load up my border that I'm going to use as part of the pop-up. So I'm going for a grassy border here. And I'm just going to resize that down till about 6 inches, or in fact with my properties dialog box I can make it exactly 6 inches. Now I'm going to choose a rectangle shape, and I'm going to adjust the size so that it's 6 by 3. I'm going to duplicate that by pressing D on my keypad, double click on the second shape and open it and get rid of the couple of nodes so that I'm left with the straight line at the end. Just going to drop that down in size a little bit so it fits within the card, and I'll make it a dashed line as well. Dragging a selection box around all three and then aligning them. Okay, looking good so far. What I'm now doing is using the grid to position the right hand side against one of the vertical lines. I'm sending the card to the back so I've got access to the grassy bit, and then I'm moving that up, duplicating the dash line, and that's going to go 1 inch to the left of the center of that card, and then it's going to come all the way down till it fits underneath the grassy bits. I'm then going to use that as a guide to position another rectangle. I want the rectangle to come up to that dash line there. And then shift and click so that I've got the rectangle and the grass together, and then subtract. And that's basically taking that rectangular shape away from the grassy strip. I'm going to do the same for the other side. This time it's going to be 1 inch in from the right hand edge of the card. So what I'm going to end up with is a 3-inch strip of grass, which is the same width as my actual closed card, but it's actually sitting 1 inch offset from the center. I'm just adjusting that center score line so that it doesn't come down over the grass. And now I need 2 more score lines. So I press D to duplicate, move that over to the right hand edge, and then D to duplicate again. And that's going to go 1 inch across from the edge of the grass. Okay, now I'm double clicking on the grassy strip, making sure that the bottom edge is selected, and then clicking open. And then I'm deleting the 2 extra points that extend down so that all I'm left with is the cut line for the grassy top itself. Selecting everything and grouping it by pressing G. Then I'm bringing on another rectangle. And I'm going to resize that. I'm going to make this 3 by 6. Separate them out a bit. Duplicating that large rectangle, opening it and deleting a couple of points till I get left with a straight line. Of course you can create straight lines with your path tool as well. That's one other way of doing it. Just decreasing the size of the line, and then making sure it's a cutting line and a dashed line. and then I'm aligning those two. This is going to create the outside front of the card. Now I'm just dropping down a tiny bit in size the insert so that it will fit inside. And then if I align those two, you should see, yep, it will fit inside nicely. Okay. So that's the outside and the inside. Now I want to create something, maybe some text or something, but I'm going to give it a title first, just so that in case I need to save it. It's always a good idea to save it as you're working, and then if anything goes wrong, you've got it to come back to. Now when I registered my embossing kit, I got access to these line embossing designs, which are great for drawing with pens. So I'm going to bring on the thank you and resize it so that it will fit inside the card. I'll also make sure I set that to a drawing line only, because I don't want that to cut when I come to create this project on my machine. Now I need something else. Let's have a look. Some cool designs in here, well worth getting that pack. This allium design looks really nice, and I think it'd look beautiful sitting on top of the grass. Oops. Good job we can undo, because I moved the card by accident. Make sure my flowers are selected, then move those. So they're now sitting on top of the grass. Again, I'm just going to make sure that's set to be a drawing line only. And I'm just double checking the other lines too. Because I basically want my card to cut, but my drawing lines to draw, if that makes sense. Okay, looking good so far. I think I'm done with my insert. Want something to go on the outside now. Oh, this looks good. Yep, we'll have a bit of that. I think I'll combine it with the... should I use a different word, or... Nah, I'll keep the same word. I'm going to resize those so they're roughly the same. Duplicate the swirls and rotate them 180 degrees. Position those on top. And then align them as well. And then press G to group them. Drop them down the size so they'll roughly fit on the front of the card. Looks good so far, but I think I'm going to actually mat and layer on top of the card. I'll just make sure that front bit's set to drawing mode first, and then I'll bring on a square. Now I know my card is 3 inches by 3 inches, so I'm going to adjust this layer to be 2 3/4. Or, okay, maybe 2 1/2, because that's going to be the top layer. I'll then duplicate that and change this one to be 2 3/4. Okay, yeah, that fits. What I'm going to do now is again move and resize that text that's going to go on the front of the card, and then align it. and group it by pressing G, making sure the outside edge is set to be just a cutting line. Oops, okay, undo, because I need to group all that together. I'm basically just currently thinking about where to position this for when I come to cut the design. Right, I think I'm just about ready. So I'm going to head over, I've made sure to give it a name. In fact, I'll give it a different name now because it's slightly different to what I originally planned. I'll click download. If you're doing this at home, you've obviously got the option to download it to your computer, which you can do by right-clicking on this icon and choosing Save Link As. Or if, like me, you've got a Wi-Fi machine, you can click on Transfer via Wi-Fi and it'll send it into the cloud. And then we can basically head over to our machines and start cutting the design out. So to do that, I start at pattern and then obviously retrieve the Wi-Fi transferred design. Now I got this error message, some shapes could not be converted to fill pattern. For some reason it's turned on the draw fill for the large square. So I'm going to change that in the machine by going into my edit screen and turning off the draw fill for that. So that was simply rectified. Now by clicking OK, first I'm going to click draw, and that's going to draw all of the drawing elements, and I'm using a gold pen with the universal pen tool. And then I'll send it through after changing onto the blade to cut, and then I'll end up with all of my different bits. Now the large layer, I didn't actually set the drawing line, so it cut and drew, but that's fine. What I did then is I used a post-it note to mask off the background and then inked up the grass, as you can see here. Then I inked over the larger layer, because basically what I did is cut it all from one sheet. Then I stuck the pop-up insert into the card and then the back side as well, and then held it down with a bit of acrylic block, and then basically stuck the sentiment to the front, and this is the finished card. Personally, I love it. I was actually really impressed with how it turned out. It's always difficult to see on screen what something is going to turn out like, but I genuinely love the way that this came out. Thank you as ever for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, where you'll find more hints and tips about the Brothers Scan and Cut and Canvas Workspace. And of course, please give me a like and also share with your creative friends. See you next time.